Fairly easy to ID this as an oak tree because A, it kept its leaves, and B, it's got them down here where you can see them. And this is a white oak, you can tell by the sort of rounded lobes there. And here in a more natural setting, we've got a hemlock here. See the foliage a little bit better, and they got a little bit of whiteness on the bottom of their needles there. And this guy here, you can see the kind of platy bark. It's a white pine tree. You can't really see the needles on it, but they come in bundles of 5. Showed a few of them before, but you can kind of tell they kind of got like a soft look to them because the needles are so fine. And bark is also fairly distinctive. Another one over here. A whole bunch of them here. I believe a good bit of these pine trees were planted at any rate, but it's kind of thinned out and mixed a little bit. Okay, and this guy here is a tulip tree. It's got kind of distinctive bark. Looks a lot like an ash, if an ash that big is still surviving around here. When they're young, they're almost stripy. They're very tall trees, and you can kind of see the little seeds hanging on still. So that makes this one fairly easy to identify. I mean, you can't really see the seeds from here, but I know them good enough from a distance. See, I don't see any on the ground either. Here's another pine tree, and you can kind of tell looking around because of the even spacing that this was planted at one time. And this right here with the sort of reddish platy bark is a red pine. No needles near us, but they should be in bundles of 2, and they will kind of snap when you bend them over. I don't think I'm over the border in Ohio. I don't think red pines were even native to Ohio, but they're native to PA and mostly the northern part of PA. A couple of spots in the mountains going farther south. Well, I've heard some debate on that. Some say they're native in Virginia and West Virginia. Others say they were planted there. And somebody else will sort that out. Some needles that fell, but yeah, they're fairly long, and they're in bundles of 2, and they're not very twisty. If these were green, I'd try the little snap trick, but they're not. See more white pines over there too. They do well mixed together. See some cones from a white pine. There's a little bit bigger. The red pine, if I can find one, they don't have any spines and they're kind of small. Trying to stay over here on the deer trails. Don't know who's motoring around out there, but for the most part, the people I've met out here have been cool. Some of them even ride Jeeps down the trails in these woods, even though they're supposed to be off limits to ATVs, but had some weird experiences before. Yeah, somebody was digging around here. how they find the acorns and the little shoots and things like that. I guess it's deer, because I see deer poop, but could be other things too. That somebody was rooting around. That's easy to tell from a distance there. That is a chestnut oak. Only very few leaves still hanging on it. A little bit different than the black locust trees. Well, probably better if I walk down and then take a little more. That chestnut oak leaf. Kind of see a little bit better. Don't really see any here, but sometimes these things will have acorns that will actually be sprouting this time of year, and you'll see the little roots running along the ground. And here I am at the bottom of the tree. My hand up there gave you a little bit of a scale. I've got fairly big hands. I'm 6'3", so I'm not a little guy. But that, and it's a nice smooth bark and a couple leaves hanging on a beech tree right next to it. See if I can find some acorns around here. Lots of leaf litter. That's the thing about these areas like this. You see all the hemlocks and the pines up there. Pines will get along with the oak trees to some extent, but because of this dense leaf litter, the hemlocks usually don't. And if they grow at all, they'll start on a log or something that sticks up above, like this little piece of wood here. Just a nice view of the creek. See the hemlocks hanging onto the edge there where they can get free of the leaf litter here. Some more down below. Some icicles and such. See a little creek valley. Looks very undisturbed down here, but up near the headwater, it crosses over maybe a few hundred yards upstream. It crosses over a power line right away, and up where the headwaters of the drainage should be, you've got farms, and at least some of them got either dairy cows or cattle. They got some sort of cows up there, so probably don't want to drink the water. Not without disinfecting it at least. Another chestnut oak over there. Not looking so good. The bark's a little bit messed up. Some other oaks along the edge. Most of these oaks hybridize pretty readily. Mostly red type oaks with red type oaks and white type oaks with white type oaks, but it makes it really difficult to sort some of them out when they're growing together. They just kind of mix and mingle and do their own things. Kind of see there used to be a trail or something coming through here, and right up there there's an actual, almost like a dirt road. A lot of people's eyes don't pick things up like that. I've been in the woods so much you can kind of see the trail running along the top of this ridge here. And if I turn around, you can kind of see it continuing that way. Nice old standing dead tree right here. Looks like it was an oak. Feeding the woodpeckers. Looks like somebody possibly made a little, it looks like they just dug out food. So a lot of times they'll make a home near the top of these. They really dug out a lot of stuff on this one. That's why it's good to leave dead trees if you can. It's a home for a lot of things and food for a lot of things, and kind of helps out. These little bushes here, and I'll go back and look for. These are witch hazel. They flower in fall or winter. That's what's left of the flowers there. And then they have these little seed capsules here. And when they ripen, they kind of pop and eject the seeds. So, well, damn it. So you can kind of see where the two seeds were up inside of there. They don't get very big. This is the stuff that they use. They'll soak it in alcohol and make a tincture, and that's what they sell in the drugstore. Witch hazel. It's just another young hemlock tree. And we're fairly lucky where I'm at. I mean, these look nice and green and healthy, and pretty much all of them around here look nice and green and healthy. You get out to the middle of Pennsylvania, and I guess more towards the south too. They got this thing called a woolly egglid. It's actually spelled like Adelgid. But you'll look at these things and they'll have little white fluff all over them down in the joints of the needles, and it kills the trees. Just wipe out whole areas. But so far we've been lucky. They haven't moved north or west enough to really affect my area here. Not yet, at least. Oh, a nice little patch on the other side there. I'm actually surprised I don't see more. But over here, where the tree roots are, there's a little seedling trying to survive. And sometimes you'll see them, they do that on logs a lot. I don't see any. I guess the deer have been munching them pretty good. But sometimes you'll see trees that look like they're growing up off the ground. And that's why they started growing on a log and they sent their roots down and everything, and then the log rots away and the tree looks like it's standing on its tippy toes. One of the rarest trees around. A beech that's not all full of initials. They got that nice smooth bark even when they're pretty big. That's why everybody likes to write their names in them, and you'll be miles out in the middle of nowhere and you'll see these trees and they're like, it looks like somebody tagged a subway wall. Here's another shot of the valley. You can see a Shagbark Hickory right there. See at least one tree that's seen better days there. On this side here a little bit. Really don't want to take the sliding board to the bottom, so I'm trying to be careful. But yeah, nice little creek. We should have more places like this. Not the most ancient hemlocks, but it's nice to see them. They're doing well.